Well, despite the huge success of the film Kabir Singh, which stars actor Shahid Kapoor, it's actually getting a lot of negative headlines, and that is because of what many believe is the misogyny and the excessive violence that the film projects. In fact, one of the people who's really spoken strongly out against the film is actor Vani Tripathi Tikku, who's also a member of the censor board. She actually slammed the film in a series of tweets earlier this week, saying that it was a terribly misogynist, extremely violent film. I'm serious about this. This misogyny is infectious. I've been noticing the narrative around Kabir Singh in the past few days. Am I surprised the film is doing well? Well. We've got Vani Tripathi Tikku joining us on NDTV tonight. Also Sucharita Tyagi, who's a film critic and also had a rather scathing review of the movie. And actor Shekhar Suman is with us this evening as well. Vani, let me just ask you straight away. Many of those who have liked this film, who've watched this film, say that this is just, an actor portraying a certain role. You have people who play good guys, bad guys, and they don't necessarily, every film doesn't necessarily have to carry a social message. What would you say to that argument?
Well, I'm not asking anybody to make a film on Swami Vivekananda or just Rabindranath Tagore. I mean, this is 2019, it's not the 1960s. And one of the things that I have mentioned in all the tweets that I did, one, I am not speaking on behalf of CBFC. I'm an actor and a producer. And I have every right in this democracy to also look at the societal influence of cinema, because that's exactly what I do when I sit on that board, and I look at the sociological impact when we do age-related classification for certification. But what's very important to understand, Nidhi, and why it's a shocker of a film with also the cash registers ringing, at the box office, is that in the past decade or so, we were celebrating the portrayal of women. We were looking at the diminishing part of patriarchy and misogyny. I mean, as a thought leader, whenever I go and speak on these things, I used to be very proud to say that there was a Shubh Mangal Savdhan, there was a Dirty Picture, there was a NH10, there was a Padman, and this whole barrage of cinemas also brought back the focus to what emancipation of women and probably, the unmisogynistic side, the collapse of the traditional song and dance routine and the eye candy routine of women and their portrayal was finally breaking down. But I suddenly get shocked when I see this. Arjun Reddy was bad enough, which I had seen in Telugu. And you must know why in Telugu it was also a shocker, though it did well. Telugu cinema is known for its family-oriented films and the kind of cinema they stand for. And here was Arjun Reddy, which actually broke every possible rule of the rule book. So if we are eulogizing misogyny, the question to be asked is, who are we representing today? And when an actor, and let me remind you, I'm also saying this with a seat of responsibility. I've been there, I've done that. There's so much adulation you get from the people. Is there no sense of responsibility towards portrayals? Because you know that people will idealize you. There'll be an emulation quotient to who you are.
No, you make an
of course,
point.
it's a matter of personal choice. It's a matter of personal choice. A certain actor has decided to do something, but the societal impact of that journey is extremely important.
In fact, you're right.
That's the
Shekhar Suman, when the Nirbhaya incident happened, I remember all those years ago when we started having, proper debates in mainstream media about the kind of sexual violence that women have to face. One of the big debates was about the way Hindi films in particular romanticize things like stalking and misogyny. A guy chases a girl completely against her wishes. He literally stalks her. And that's what this film also projects at some level. And, that is celebrated as being romantic when it actually in real life is dangerous and is not romantic. And at that time, I remember so many actors came out and spoke about this kind of violence and misogyny projected in films and the need for the film industry to be more responsible. What do you think of this sort of backlash to Kabir Singh that is taking place at the same time as its box office success?
I missed out on your question because there was a beep in between. What is your question?
My question is, what do you think of this backlash against this film? I was taking you back to when the Nirbhaya gang rape happened in Delhi, and we were all debating about how stalking has been romanticized in Hindi films.
It's at the Nidhi, see, at the end of the day, it's just a question of the way you look at things. I mean, there is no such thing as right or wrong. These are just perceptions. You can, And, you know, even if you get into a debate, it's going to be your word against mine. The who decides who's right, who's not. My first question is, why was the film passed in the first place? And this question goes to Vani. I mean, she's part of the censor board. Why did you pass the film? I mean, why this so much of a hue and cry and hullabaloo and cacophony after the film has been released? Why wasn't it stalled before? Why wasn't it stopped? Why was it allowed to release?
Can I take that?
There was a Telugu version of it that you said that was bad.
Sure.
You know, there was a Telugu version, and then you said there is a Hindi version. I mean, you know, if there was enough opinion against the film, then probably the Hindi remake would have not happened. Also the fact that what surprises me that the film is a phenomenal success, which means that it has been patronized by the audience, which means it has had a positive verdict. So who decides what is wrong, what is right? I mean, there are all kinds of films, and this is just a specific character. We are not propagating misogyny, we are not propagating violence, we are not for it. He's just one of a kind character. I mean, there have been alcoholics, there have been,
but he's the hero.
Underworld
He's
people,
not projected as a negative character.
Misandrists.
He's projected as the hero who gets the girl. And takes a knife out to tell a woman to take her clothes off. Is that acceptable?
We are not correct. No, it's just a story. It's just a story. Why are we taking it so seriously? It's not going to have any negative impact on the society. For that matter, if it did, cinema was so powerful that after the release of Gandhi, at least we would have had one Gandhi in society.
Well,
so, you know,
I want to ask Sucharita Tyagi, sorry, if I could just ask Sucharita Tyagi
these films that you watch.
To just interject on that, on what Shekhar Suman is saying. He's talking about the irony here that actually, yes, the film is a huge box office success. And he says, then who decides what is right, what is wrong, what is misogynist? It's okay for us to sit here and criticize it, but most people have liked the film.
You know, Bollywood, Hindi films and cinema does not exist in a vacuum. Art imitates life. So the response that you're seeing of people who are coming out and enjoying the film, and mostly men who are enjoying the film, has been a bit of a rude awakening to see the comments under the video that I put out, under the review that I put out, and on social media. And you know, it's kind of like, all right, you know, Sucharita, maybe get out of your echo chamber and see what people are actually liking and what people are actually sharing and talking about amongst each other. I've also received messages from girls saying we were in the theater watching the film and we felt unsafe while we were watching the film because we were surrounded by a group of men who was just cheering, clapping and applauding everything that was going on at all the wrong places in the film. Of course, you know, we're saying that this is a negative character and you don't have to, we're not asking you to become this negative character, but when this character is doing something highly objectionable and you're surrounded by a group of men who are applauding it and cheering it, women are feeling unsafe in the theater while watching the film.
Can you list the 3 things that you found the most offensive? Can you list the 3 most offensive scenes that I mean,
you know, straight off the bat, the first scene that you also just mentioned, you know, there's a scene where he's pointing a knife at a woman and asking her to take her clothes off. Of course, you're creating a character who's this disgusting man. But when this scene has very little to no bearing on the film, on the script, on the screenplay, and that woman is never mentioned again, this incident is never mentioned again, he never atones for this incident, then that becomes a problem. And then, of course, when you go, you know, everything that happens, spoiler alert, he gets the girl. He gets the girl and he gets she has the child for him, her family takes them back. It's all, everything that he's done that's been wrong, that's been problematic, suddenly is accepted. People are happy. His father says, go take a vacation, you deserve it. All of it is just the way the gaze is wrong. The way you're looking at the character is problematic in many ways. It's a very problematic film.
Vani, you wanted to answer what Shekhar Suman asked you. Why did the censor board clear the film if you find it so objectionable?
Well, the censor board is not just me, and I said in my personal capacity, I have spoken out also as a woman and my whole fight for women's rights so many years. I'm surprised Mr. Shekhar Suman is saying how the film was passed. If we would have even asked questions, we had that unpopular board who asked questions and then they would have said, oh, come on, they stopped the film. So anyway, in the ambit of the Cinematograph Act of 1952, we neither stop any films nor we ban films. And on record, I'm saying that. And within the same film industry, which has so many questions to ask as far as portrayal of women is concerned, I throw back the question at Mr. Shekhar Suman. If we would have stopped the film, which would not have happened, it got an adult certification. what he would have said at that time, also as an actor and a producer. This is a question he should be answering. Number two, the larger question, Nidhi, is the societal influence of the film. It is, of course, this misogyny, this horrendous behavior towards the woman that he says he loves. He calls her Bandi. He almost beats up his maid. She is the protagonist of the film. He is not an anti-hero. All the 2 days, all the strange tweets that I've been getting, everybody speaking about Dr. Dang, Mogambo, all these kind of things. Have they forgotten that the protagonist of those films was this hero, also this testosterone-laden figure, which has always been dominant as far as the male, characterization of the industry is concerned. Here we're talking about the protagonist. And this is what makes it very shattering and absolutely abhorrible. That the protagonist is this, and in the last 3 minutes of the film, he gets reformed and so on and so forth. I think it's absolutely detestable. Let us also look at the flavor of the month, the flavor of the season, and the flavor of the year diatribe which happens in the industry. How many more Arjun Reddys and Kabir Singhs will be happening for the next couple of months? We should be asking ourselves. Also, because this has been a sleeper hit, how many more people will be making films like these, and how many more women will be bashed up, beaten up, probably asked to derobe themselves on knife point and so on and so forth.
In fact, whose review was I reading? I don't remember if it was Sucharita's video that I was seeing, where I think somebody pointed out that in the scene where he slaps the heroine, somebody in the hall, Sucharita, it was in your video, right? That somebody actually got up and...
that was me.
A guy got up and, the men applauded it, which is what is scary.
Yes.
So, Shekhar Suman, do actors have no responsibility in what kind of roles they take up? I mean, is everything going to be about money, especially in a country like ours where we are dealing with these issues of sexual violence and it's tearing us apart? In the last few years especially, we're talking about it. We don't have any responsibility. I mean, we asked Shahid Kapoor, by the way, we wanted him to come on the channel and talk about this. I don't think he cares.
Why, Nidhi, why are we taking this so seriously? It's just a film at the end of the day. It's just a piece of fiction.
Because Shekhar Suman, no one is going to
it's
stalk
about
you
one
now.
Character.
They go and stand outside women's homes and expect women to respond to their overtures. You don't have to face the gun.
They would do that anyways if they have to. They don't need to watch an Arjun Reddy or Kabir Singh to go and stalk women or to harass them on the roads or just eat them. It's been happening since time immemorial. It's just a myth that the film contributes to all this.
No.
It's this kind of a conversation, this kind of a debate. I think it becomes like infantile.
Sucharita?
And since take a film like Diwar. You take a film like Diwar where Bachchan Sahab played Vijay, the Don, the underworld guy, and he was eulogized there in the movie. He was taken as a hero. He was an anti-hero, an anti-establishmentarian who takes the law in his own hand.
Vacuum. People are watching.
All along, we have celebrated that character. Bachchan Sahab known to have played all these characters.
No, but this particular character goes and hits the woman that he's supposed to love, and takes out knives, telling women to take their clothes off. Is that what should be celebrated? Is that the example that should be set? I mean, does Shahid Kapoor or any other actor have no responsibility at all?
I'm not saying
he's the hero.
It should not be celebrated.
Playing the villain, then do that.
No, I'm completely against celebration of that.
But it is a celebration of that in this film. It is a celebration
he's
of
a villain.
Just that.
Of course, he's a villain.
He's not a hero. He's not. He's the hero.
No, you take the character of
one more thing, which is very important.
But he's not. He's a hero, but he's not heroic.
I don't know what that means.
He is very heroic. He is extremely heroic. Everybody wants to be him. Everybody wants to become Shahid Kapoor. And if you get away without any consequences and repercussions, everybody wants to be him.
No, that's wrong.
In a country where cinema is religion, where big movie stars are idolized, they are emulated, almost what they do becomes etched in stone. And we are still saying why we are taking this seriously. Then Shekhar, we should take nothing seriously. Why make any film at all? I mean, all kinds of...
Shekhar sir, can I just say something here? Can I just, sorry to interrupt.
Vani, just a second. Sucharita has a last comment. I'm taking last comments. Sucharita.
Really quickly.
Sucharita.
Vani, listen to me. There was Shah Rukh's character in Dar.
Yeah, and it wasn't a great character when you think about it. That's exactly the point we were making.
When you look at,
we should evolve from that.
Stalking is a very serious offense.
What it hasn't impacted me, it will never impact me. I will never be.
2019.
I'll never want to be in Arjun Reddy or the character in Dar. I forget. The moment I come out of the theatre, I've forgotten about these characters.
Sucharita.
You must have.
Thank you very much.
Not forgotten.
Anybody at this point of time who's making any content and putting it out anywhere on any platform, whether it be Film Companion on YouTube or where it's a movie theatre, you have a responsibility. 5 people are watching you, 5,000 people are watching you, and 5 million people are watching you. You watch something on the big screen, you want to emulate it, you want to become that. Shekhar sir, I saw Movers and Shakers and I wanted to become a presenter.
Yes,
your show inspired me my whole life.
You know, all I want
so
to say,
right now people
listen.
are watching this character, they want to become this character. You go through my social media right now, you go through the YouTube comments that I'm getting. It's been unreal. It's been unreal because this voice of dissent has said that this movie, don't become this character. So it's unreal,
Nidhi,
but it's true.
Nidhi, one more question we need to ask. In the era of
give it a
Me
week,
Too,
they'll forget all about
can
it.
we celebrate misogyny like this? Is something we really need to ask. The film industry has also had a tsunami of Me Too. In the era of Me Too in 2019, look at the condition of portrayal of women. Can we actually celebrate misogyny?
But we are not celebrating misogynism.
We are, Shekhar. When we are saying don't take it seriously,
it is an
you are eulogizing.
He's really worked up. He's really worked up about this.
Shekhar, it's not acceptable from you.
And what about misandrists? What about women hating men?
No, but Shekhar Suman,
but this is not.
I am responsible. That's what I'm saying. Not to take it so seriously. Does
the film industry have no responsibility? Is there no responsibility when you look at how you choose?
It does, but it does. No, that means you can never play bad characters. I mean, in society, they are good characters, they are bad characters, they are ugly characters, all kinds of characters. And actors would just portray them. Doesn't mean you go out and emulate them.
This is portrayal of the most heinous kind of abhorrible characterization that anybody can ever think of, and he's a protagonist of the film.
I haven't seen the film, but I do understand. Oh my God, Vani, you walked up.
Oh, he really. Yeah, really. I mean, no, I'm
Vani,
not.
don't
Yes,
get to walk up. Nothing would happen. They're all going to forget about the character within a week's time, and the next time you see, they're going to play that morose character of Ashiki 2. They probably.
Shekhar, this film shattered my dream of progressive cinema. I was proud of the portrayal of women, for which we fight each day. Also within the board, overcorrection of women portrayal is what we fight for each day. And it's really shameful that we are even debating this tonight.
But to offset that, Vani, there are a plethora of films being made which which empowers women. We talk about highly of women and we emulate them. There are all kinds of films that are being made. So why just pick one out of the lot and just...
That doesn't mean that you made this on such a big scale. It's not a small film that has come and gone. It's a big film.
It's a big
film
with
a ton of
a
money.
big star.
It's in the theaters,
and which
with
is a big hit.
Star, with the biggest names in Bollywood tweeting about it, congratulating it, celebrating it, without anybody actually realizing what is the ground level effect.
So then everybody is wrong. Then I guess everyone, all those people who are going and watching the film, making it a runaway success, they're completely wrong. The people congratulating going on Twitter and
they're not wrong.
They're all wrong.
But it's representative of the society and the nation and the country we are. It's representative of our society.
Which is what makes it scary that a film like this can be the kind of success that it is. I want to thank all of you for coming though and talking about this. There were some people who asked me why we wanted to even debate, have a debate on this film, and this is the reason why. Because, like I said right at the beginning, at a time when we're looking at sexual violence against women far more in the mainstream media than we ever did, the role that Bollywood in particular plays, the film industry plays, is up for scrutiny. And I think it has a massive impact on the lives of women in particular. Shekhar Suman, you may not see it, you may not be impacted by it, but ask most women out there, they do feel the effects of it and films like this. Thank you though for all your perspectives tonight. Thanks very much. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.